Alright guys, we're back with another video, and specifically today we want to talk a little bit about nutrition. We dove into this topic about a week and a half ago in a classroom environment. We want to dive down, into this conversation a little bit more, and especially for those of you that may have missed it, right? So what we want to talk about is how we get better at being good at CrossFit and how we get to our goals, and a lot of that comes down to this priority pyramid, if you will. And this is something that came from CrossFit HQ, but it's a really good reference to go off of because it shows where we should put priority and where the base is for this pyramid. It starts with nutrition, right? We cannot be good at any Metcon if we don't prioritize how we're eating and what those foods are. So we want to start with nutrition. Once we get into that, now we start to figure out what we need to do in Metcons, how we need to approach those, the pacing of it, getting better at the movements, getting better at the skill of gymnastics and barbell. And then if we want to be competitive, that's when that final piece can come into play. But we do need to make sure that the nutrition plays a very important role. So we kind of made our own pyramid. Now, just dealing with the base of that pyramid, we've created our own, and we look at what would be the base of nutrition if we're just talking about that. And for us, it's about preparation. We want to make sure that we are ready for making a change in our diet, right? And that comes down to preparing meals, figuring out what those meals are, how we want them to look. And so spending time making that a priority, making time for nutrition is really important. That's what we talk about with the preparation. Next is going to be quality food, right? We want to make sure that we are looking at good whole foods, good quality amount of vegetables, things that go bad, right? We don't want to spend too much time in the aisles with a lot of things that don't go bad. They last forever. Those aren't real foods. So we want to make sure that quality is there. And that's something that we're going to prioritize. It's very important. The next is going to be quantity, right? We want to make sure that there's balance on our plate, that we're not eating too much of any one of our macronutrients, whether it be protein, carbs, or fat. So we're going to find that balance, right? Then it's the timing. Okay, when should I be eating before and after a workout? When can I eat throughout my day? And that might change a little bit from person to person based on your schedule. But then you got to figure out what works best for you so you get the best results for yourself. And then finally, we can start to talk about supplements, right? Supplements can be very beneficial, but if our food isn't there yet, then we really don't need to make it a priority. So that would be the final piece once everything else makes sense. So how do we do that? Right? One, we can just talk about a very simplistic way to think about it. And this is, again, something that came from Greg Glassman himself, which is eat vegetables, meat, nuts and seeds, some fruit, a little bit of starch and no sugar, right? When we talk about no added sugar, right? If we're doing that, we keep intake to levels that will support exercise but not support body fat. We're doing those things. That's a very simplistic kind of sentence, but it can go a long way in making us better at whatever that we want to be better at, right? So we need a plan for this, because it's easy to say things like this, but if we don't have a plan, that's going to be very difficult. That's when we go over here and we talk about plan, purchase, and prepare. So what that means, and I touched on it a little bit already, is we want to have a plan when we start this change in our diet. And that comes down to figuring out what meals that we can make for ourselves, whether that be for our breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and making it convenient for ourselves. So we come up with that plan of what those foods look like, and then we're going to purchase them, obviously, right? And then we have to do our preparation process. So that is when we start to make our meals for the week, whether that be for a couple days, and then you do another preparation period throughout the week. The preparation is obviously very important. If we get that done, it makes it a lot easier throughout the entirety of our week. So that is step one. Figure out what those foods are, purchase them, and then prepare them. We talk about, again, kind of quality of food, right? When we talk about whole foods, these are things that haven't been processed in any way. They are how we grew them, right? If we're talking about vegetables, it's not in a can. It's something that is going to go bad that we are taking from the produce section. So that goes with that goes with our vegetables, our meats, our sides, any sort of carbohydrate that we're referring to. We want to make sure it's a good quality food. We want to get a lot of vegetables in. I can't overstress that enough, right? If we're seeing a large amount of vegetables eventually be in every meal that we have, we're getting a lot of our micronutrients, we're getting a lot of vitamins and minerals, we're getting all the things that our body needs to perform well. And then we talk finally about just reducing the sugar in our diet, right? You'd be so shocked to see how many things that if they have an ingredient list and you see on that ingredient list a lot of sugar, most of the time it's some sort of additive, right? It's not coming naturally from the foods that we're eating, unless probably it's a fruit. So if we can take some of that added sugar out, it goes a long way in, again, reaching our goals. So this is a very brief discussion on kind of how you can approach nutrition to see the results that you want to see. I hope this helped a lot, and we'll see you next time for whatever video that we have for nutrition.